Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jeff and this is JD's Trains. And first of all, I just want to hope everybody had a good Christmas, happy holidays, and we're coming up on New Year's, so hopefully that starts out good too. And can't wait to see what next year has in store for us. But like always, I have a special choo-choo to review for you, but not just any choo-choo. This is going to be my first steam engine that I'm going to show you guys on the channel. As you see, there's nothing here. By using the force, I will make it appear. Whoa! Now look at that beautiful choo-choo right there. This is a Lionel Pennsy K4 in the Tuscan red. First off, we'll get into some brief history about the locomotive type itself. The Pennsylvania Railroad's 462 Pacifics, in their terms K4s, was built between 1914 and 1928. About 350 of them were built by Pennsylvania Railroad's own Juniata shops in Altoona, Pennsylvania, and then the last remaining 75 were produced by Baldwin Locomotive Works. The K4s were well known for their passenger revenue service, but there were some instances where they were used for freight contests, and the nickname for the K4s were the standard passenger locomotive of the world. And it is very well known that since they have such an elegance to them, and also they can get the job done at good speed and carry a good train for a commuter or passenger travel in general. Even though it's such a beautiful and very popular locomotive, unfortunately most of them were scrapped and lost to history. But in our case, we are lucky that there is two left. Number 3750 sits outside at the Railroad Museum of Pennsylvania in Strasburg, and the state's locomotive, 1361, is actually being restored by the Railroad's Memorial Museum in Altoona, so we are very happy about that. Soon we could be able to see her under steam, and it'd be just good to see an old K4 out on the rails again. As the one you see in front of you right here, number 5409, history states that the Pennsylvania Railroad painted at least 10 K4s in the Tuscan red paint scheme for the famous Red Arrow train that would go revenue service from New York to Detroit. And everybody speculates that no, they never existed, but there's people that say existed and everything. There's been reports that apparently there is photographs that have turned out that they show them in the colors after they've made the black and white photos into color. So there's many different things saying it is and it isn't. I'm going to say it is because, I mean, come on. How beautiful setup to have a Red Arrow train with a Tuscan red locomotive to match the passenger cars. I mean, that's just beautiful in my opinion. Like this model. Tuscan Red K4, you can't get any better than that. I mean, look how beautiful it is. The Pennsylvania's Red Arrow train service first was put into service in 1925 and was last serviced in 1960. It was the Pennsylvania Railroad's top train in the New York to Detroit market. While the Pennsylvania Railroad offered competitive service between the two cities of New York and Detroit, it struggled for dominance against its longtime rival, the New York Central, and surprisingly, the Baltimore and Ohio Railroad. Unfortunately, we lost it to history in 1960 because it wasn't relevant anymore. They weren't getting any revenue service to compensate the costs for it. Back on February 18th, 1947, between the towns of Glitzen and Altoona, Red Arrow train was running late, and they were trying to improve time. They sped it up, and unfortunately, they were going around Bennington Curve over the speed limit, and the train derailed. The train consisted of 2 K4 locomotives and 14 cars, and when it derailed and went down the hillside, 24 people were killed and 138 were injured. In essence, just gave a black eye to the Red Arrow service, which I initially think that might have been one of the causes for why it was disbanded, but I'm not 100% sure. But let's get off of the sad stuff and let's get happy and talk about the model from Lionel. From the Lionel 2013 Signature Edition catalog, this Pennsylvania Legacy Scale 462 K4 Pacific number 5409 in the Tuscan red paint scheme, otherwise known as the Red Arrow scheme, number 6-11319. Alright, so we'll go over the features and details on this locomotive. We'll start up top first. So up front here we have a headlight with number boards on each side, classification marker lights, dynamo smoke generator. Here's a smokestack, and you put smoke fluid directly down the stack and it will puff while operating. Here is a added swinging bell, not powered, but you get the point. Here's a couple sand domes and steam domes. We have the pressure pop-off valves in brass right here. Here's the tether that goes back to the cab for the whistle and the bell. And Right under here is where you would load the fluid for the smoke unit, for the whistle, and it is held on by magnets. So here's the magnet parts right here, and here is the top of the bottom of the whistle. And you would put the smoke fluid down here. So it has two smoke units. It has one for the whistle and one for the stack. And you just reapply it, just like that. Now on the front of the locomotive, we have a really nice coupler cut bar with a scale coupler. We have some very nice marker lights down on the bottom of the pilot truck, which I think is a really nice touch. I don't think I have any other steam engines that are like that. We got step rails leading up to the side of the boiler. We got a nice detailed snowplow / cow catcher on the front here. The boiler door from this model opens and closes, and here's the keystone number plate for the locomotive. Built in and riveted detail, molded in. We got some nice handrails. Here's the piston setup, and here's some of that running gear on the side. Here's a nice add-on builder's plate right here. That's a really nice touch as well. Towards the side of the locomotive, these nice drive wheels. I love the detail with the spokes all in that black finish. It really makes it pop with the Tuscan red and the polished side rods here. Very nice. We got some add-on details right here with the compressor. Here's an add-on handrail. It's going down the length of the boiler. We have the firebox right here. We have a nicely detailed truck frame right here on the trailing truck. We got the number right here of 5409. We got mold and rivet detail, plastic insert glass windows. We have two figures inside. It is a light interior that will go off when the engine starts moving. Add-on detail here. Here's the infrared tether that attaches the tender with the locomotive. Towards the back of the locomotive, we got the famous squared off firebox that the K4s and the Pennsylvania Railroad were famous for. Here is a movable roof hatch back and forth on top of the cab. Towards the tender, we have a real coal load. And then right back here is you open up the hatch, and here's your adjustable knob for the volume. We have working marker lights on the back of the tender as well. Here's the backup light. And then of course we have a ladder going down. On the side of the tender, we got molded in rivet detail. We got add-on handrail here on the front. Here's the steps. There's some nicely detailed die-cast trucks underneath with some little bit of springs. We got the nice Pennsylvania painted logo right on the side of it. Gold in the Tuscan. Good color combo. Side of the marker light and steps on the back. Here's the access doors and everything for the coal. That's how the fireman would be able to grab the coal and shovel it into the locomotive. And of course the handrail's a better view of them. And here is a better view of the infrared wireless tether from Lionel, how it communicates with the locomotive. Now, since we're looking at the back side of the tender, we got some nice detail up here on top. Coal doesn't, fly all over the place. I mean, who'd want a mess like that to deal with? We have the handrail and ladder going down. There's handrails on both sides. We have a coupler cut bar on the back here. Steps going down. Here's legible print of the PRR logo and stats on the tender with the road number of 5409 on there. And this is a powered coupler and can be activated on the legacy remote by hitting the rear coupler button. This side of the locomotive I wanted to show you, it's not much different, but there is certain pieces that are different from the other side. Like there's a bigger box. I'm supposing that this must be like a toolbox or something. I'm just guessing that. I'm not 100% sure. You have this stepped up feature right here along the boiler with some nice running gear and mechanical going on in here. We got some hoses that are and pipe that are coming all the way down the length of the boiler under the cab right here. You can definitely see the whistle a lot better over on this side. So on the locomotive itself, you have 3 pickup rollers. On the tender, you got 2. Here's the sensor for the Lionel LCS sensor track option. Underneath the locomotive or the cab here in firebox, you have these switches for the main smoke unit, which is the smokestack, and then you have an on-off switch for the whistle smoke, and then under this side right here you have the Odyssey speed control switch on or off, and your program switch is underneath as well. And this has 2 traction tires, one on each of these wheels right here. Now we're going to get ready and fire up the Tuscan K4. And you have 3 ways to operate this. You can either run it with Lionel Legacy, which is where you'll get all the features. You can run it with TMCC, which you can get very limited features, but you can still operate it. Or you can run it conventional, which is a transformer, just like back in the day. But I have the legacy cab remote, so I'm gonna get it started up. So the engine number in here is 54, which I did 54 is the first two numbers, so it's easier to remember. So I'll hit 5, 4, and then I'll hit the on button. Alright, so let's go over some sounds on the locomotive. Let's do the steam blowdown sound. Pretty cool. We're going to add water to the tender sound. Now we'll do some crew talk and tower comm.
Dispatcher here. Take a read. Over. Dispatcher, coupled up. Can I move? Over. This is the dispatcher. Please stand by. Over. Roger that. Holding for a signal. Out. Dispatcher, test complete. Can we move? Over. Hold for signal indication. Over. Copy that. Standing by. Out.
Alright, now let's hear what the bell sounds like. And now we'll go with the whistle. Another quick thing before we get her loaded and run her out. I don't know why, but this smoking is really loud. And I bought this thing brand new. I don't know if maybe it just needs a little TLC with the smoking in it or something, but it is pretty loud. That's what you can hear, that kind of humming noise. And I don't know, but she definitely doesn't smoke like my MTH unit, so I don't know if maybe the whole thing just had a bad one or something. I mean, the whistle smokes good, but the stack, it's like, takes a little while for it to smoke, so I'm not 100% sure. That's a job for another day. You'll see it work when we're running it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get a train set together, get her hooked up, and we'll take her around the layout. I'm going to fire the rear coupler to open up to hook it up to this freight train, and sorry in advance, I do not have any Red Arrow passenger cars for this. I have been looking for some for a good while now, so if you guys know where any Lionel Red Arrow heavyweight cars for this locomotive would be, please let me know. But this train contest will be pretty nice for it anyway, I think so I think we'll be just fine. Alright, so now I got it hooked up to a freight train. We're going to roll her out, and as I go by, I'll tell you which each car it is. And I am going to be using sequence control, which is achieved by pressing the X wall button and pressing holding it for at least 3 seconds until you hear the toot toot. First up is an Altoona Brewing Company 36 Lager Reefer car from MTH. Second is a Curb Premium Beer Altoona Brewing Company Reefer from MTH. Next one is the Horseshoe Curve Beer Altoona Brewing Company Reefer, also MTH. This one is the Altoona Brewing Company Curve Premium Beer, different style from MTH. Here is a PRR Refrigerant Transit Altoona Lager car from Weaver. And then this is a Pennsylvania Lighted Smoking Caboose from K-Line. I stopped her using the train brake feature, which I think is a pretty nice feature. But as we always say on the JG Trains Railroad here, in a long day of hauling freight, we're gonna shut her down.
Going off duty. Out.
Well, that about wraps it up for this runtime product review. I want to thank you guys so much for joining in, being my first review on a steam engine in my collection. It's one of my favorite pieces in my collection. Little tidbits real quick. Again, the Lionel number is 6-11319, and it can operate on 036 curves. It's 21 inches in length, and it's all die-cast metal in the Tuscan red. I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in. Until next time, this is JG Trains signing off.